Welcome back, Cutoffs and Coffee, episode 17 with Brian Peters, part 2. Now, this is a continuation from last week's conversation. If you missed part 1, go back, listen to part 1. We want you to understand where Brian is coming from when he's talking about everything he's talking about in part 2. Now we dive into training. We dive into training at 4 a.m. We dive into nasal breathing. We dive into a lot of different things that people can start using right now to start feeling better. Please, please, please take your time, listen to this, devour all the information, take your notes, do whatever you need to do, and enjoy part 2 of Cutoffs and Coffee with Brian Peters.
And as always, Underdog Fitness is your sponsor for this podcast. And today we're going to bring you the shaker bottle, the only way to stay hydrated after 15 minutes of lunges. So if your lunges, get your shaker bottle, right? Grab some water, maybe put a little salt in there, but have a great day. Can't wait for you guys to listen to the second half of this episode.
That's perfect. And that obviously brought you to the Mindstrong Project. Tell us about that.
The Mindstrong's been a really cool thing to see how it evolved. So my business partner, Harvey Martin, we went to high school together we went like 8th grade to sophomore year of high school together. And then he moved back to Michigan, and then he went on scholarship to play and pitch at Central Michigan, and then Mankato in Minnesota. And then he got some shots in the minor league system for the Brewers. And he was getting out of baseball as I did that journey and got to the Vikings. And he'd been in town coaching baseball for a few months with these guys. And he goes, "Hey, I'm here in town." So I saw him a couple of times in the spring, and like, we're just kind of like he's got a group of friends that are super fun, great humans that own this massive baseball training facility. So we all kind of see eye to eye on performance and that kind of thing. But my buddy's kind of in a dark place, trying to find himself outside of sport. And he's coaching these kids and finding that there is like a lot of purpose and a lot of understanding. So he finds this, like the cold water therapy, like as I'm leaving to go to Houston, like I'm doing my cold water therapy, all that kind of stuff still. And then we find the breath work, and it just grows. It started as actually this program for kids where like there's some kids at their big baseball, so they have access to hundreds and hundreds of kids. It's Minnesota MASH, great organization. But there's some kids battling depression, and there's like a suicide attempt from like somebody that like shouldn't like just wasn't in the right mindset and didn't understand what was happening inside himself. So we tried, like Harvey in particular, he has a sports psych background, tried to bring structure to this. And it started as like a podcast, but it also started as a children's mental skills program, and like teaching them like, again, like, where is your structure failing? Why are you sad? Why are you not fulfilled? All these things. And he made a diamond series out of it, and we still use it to this day. Like, home base is like, what are you willing to struggle for? What's your why, your purpose? First base are your standards and values. Like, are you the hardest worker? Whatever. Like, are you a great friend? Like, husband, whatever. Where most kids fail are the systems in place. Like, how do you support those values? Am I the hardest worker? Well, your systems don't say that. Like, or like is your value off? Or you want to be the, like, impress people, funniest, whatever you want, however that kind of deal is. And then if we'll adjust the systems, then third base is your vision, which for the, like, your carrot for the future, which should get you back home base to what your purpose should be. And like I've done my own diamond series many times. At times it was like it ranged, but eventually, like, I want to grow. Like, football, life experience, all these things, I want to grow. And like in that like process, I'm going to be like, my values are like hardworking, blue collar, curious as hell, and like I'm a compassionate leader. Are my systems in place for that? What are my workouts? Like, what's my diet? Who am I talking to? What am I reading? Like, all my systems in place. Do they support these values that I think make me an NFL caliber player? And then my vision was like, I want to be in the league as long as I can. I want to play defense. Like, I want to be a captain. I want to be all these things. And that got me back to, like, getting to this level of my vision is going to be still installed and growing constantly. And that's the growth part's never kind of left me. It's gone in different variants of that for the most part for me. But like, it just, once kids have a structure and they don't like identify with each emotion that comes into them, like you hear it a lot, like I didn't hear it as much in high school, where it's like, I'm depressed. Like, no, you're experiencing depression, but you're not depressed. Like, you're human. You're going to experience all these emotions. Like, you're never going to be happy all the time, which is why I hate people that I want to be happy. I want to be happy. Like, yeah, experience happiness, but that comes at a cost. Like, light has dark. Like, the paradox of life should not be wrapped up in this desire to be happy at all times. Like, that's not the human experience. Like, the human experience is this incredible capability, and like that's what the sauna and ice is a microcosm of that, where like you need to be capable of extreme cold, extreme hot, and everywhere in between. Like my bit as of late is like, I want to be capable of great violence and great peace. So what does that look like? Does me being more violent make me more peaceful? Like, does my peace allow me to be more violent? Like, and I want to be comfortable everywhere in between. And why would you not? Like, why do you not want the most out of your life? So like, that's where like the conversation kind of shifts in Mindstrong. Now it's the breath work evolved into this. And like, so like the kids program, like we kind of left the baseball facility and started coaching hockey players. It got into like, we coach some CEOs now, coach a couple MLB players. We have a contract with the San Francisco Giants, and like the breath just evolved. Like, I was guinea pigging a lot of stuff. My Harvey was getting certified and learning under Brian McKenzie, Dr. Belisa, like got the best minds. Like, so we built this savage coach, and he's a genius. He's like, in all this, like all the locker rooms I've been in, he's still one of the best. He's 32 years old. He's one of the best coaches I've ever come across. He's intuitive. He story tells to get his points across. He understands what the breath really does. And I've felt all that because I've gone through all that. So we kind of have this cool 1-2 punch where he's mental skills and psychology and holistic, and I have this meathead side, where I've done everything. I know how it feels. I know how it helps. I've trained with it. I've trained without it, and then everything, supplements and recovery in between. So this company we have now, we primarily coach breath work and mental skills. But if you truly understand breath work, you truly understand your physiology, you can control your psychology. So it gets really powerful really quick when you understand the control you can have over your life if you can control your breath. And controlling your breath isn't just like the in and out and the cadence and the length of the inhale, exhale, what body parts inhaling, exhaling. It's savage mechanics too, like maximizing each breath, breathing less. Like you see it in UFC all the time. Like the guy who breathes the less usually wins. Like you can tell who dogs out, who goes from nasal to mouth breathing. Like, yeah, he's wasting energy. Like he's trying to get CO2 out. The only benefit to mouth breathing is oxygen in and CO2 in and out faster. Like that's not the aerobic state. Like that's anaerobic. Like, so now like you can read people's physiology, but the biggest thing is like most people are scared of the breath work and some of the physiological work because like it's woo woo. It's yoga. It's like a fighter. And no, it's every human on the planet should do breath work to maximize every breath. Every breath helps or hurts you. Like there's 30 benefits to the nose. There's 1 to the mouth. Like do the math. Like it just now like breath is non-negotiable to me and I'm super aware of it. And that's the coolest thing about it is once you do it one freaking time, you're aware and you can feel your breath. You can hear it. We explain it to where now you can control your psychology. You can control your state. If you can control your breath in an environment, you can own the environment. You control your breath in a position, you can own the position. And it just makes sense. And if you're like, I don't know how deep you guys are into like the biomechanics world or what certifications you have and all those kind of things. Like I'm big on firing pattern and like just to get into hip flexion, like what needs to fire your psoas, what's the psoas indirectly tied to, like the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. So now like if you're a great breather and have strong breathing muscles, strong intra-abdominal pressure, like you can fire properly and you have this, you can explode out as opposed to implode. Like if the psoas doesn't fire, then like the hip flexor, the quad's doing two jobs, and now like the upper abs will take over. So all these compensation patterns can happen from being a shit breather. So like I get a little crazy on all that stuff, but like it makes sense. Like you never want to have these weak links. You want to fire inside out. That's why core strength and glute strength, all these things are so important. And glute activation's been massive like the last 5-10 years. But like you're also missing the front. Like everything that happens in the front happens in the back in some capacity. There's antagonists, protagonists, whatever. But like don't miss the psoas and don't not strengthen your diaphragm and pelvic floor. Have bigger lung capacity. Sounds like a good advantage.
Hey, where do you start? Where do you start with that? Where do you send people level one? You know, people listening to this. Oh yeah, that sounds great. Where can I start?
Yeah, I mean, you can start by reading your own books. Mindstrong, we have an online membership that's very like entry level for the most part. I'm on there coaching twice a week. We have another breath coach, and then Harvey's getting back on. But just like very entry level stuff, we try and we'll do some mobility and yoga on there too. But the books you can read. Oxygen Advantage is the cleanest look. I haven't got my hands on his new book yet, The Breathing Cure. That's next on my list. But Oxygen Advantage. Breath by James Nestor. James Nestor demos a lot of the stuff that we do, and that's portrayed in Oxygen Advantage, particularly like the mouth taping. Like I've been taping my mouth while I sleep for 5 years now. Guarantee all those benefits of the nasal breathing for while I'm sleeping. Like it's guaranteed. And so before we started recording the podcast for everybody, we started talking about sleep hygiene with the boys. And
oh yeah.
A big thing for me with the sleep, and another like, oh crap, breathing is smart, breathing the right way is smart. I had the whoop, and when I was in Houston, and I had that, yeah, and I had the R90 program going from Nick Littlehales in the book, and it was working pretty good. Like I was hitting my like anchor wake up time, and I was like sleeping in these 90-minute increments. I was like targeting 9 hours every night. And if it wasn't 9, it was 7.5. If I didn't get 7.5, I had a nap, like this whole system. But the cool thing was, or I guess the cool thing to see in the statistics on the whoop was sleeping 9 hours, supposedly. My whoop was saying I got like 5:57, 6:31, like all this crap. I'm like, I slept for 9 hours and it's stressing me out. And that's kind of like, do you own the routine? Does the routine own you? Do you need statistics on that to be intuitive and feel? And so like, that's one thing that the breath teaches you really fast is how do I feel? Like, what is my tolerance right now? And it gets you like in suffocations of fear too, like how comfortable are you in stress on exhale holds, inhale holds, all these things. But I lost my train of thought switching to back to the breath, but
yeah, just tracking sleep.
Yeah, but so with the sleep, started taping my mouth and like my wakefulness, stirring, all that kind of stuff. Like my whoop was pretty accurate, like give or take 20 minutes. So now I was sleeping for 8:40 as opposed to this. And it makes the book explains the mouth tape while you're sleeping. And then I've done protocols where I train with my mouth tape, I run with my mouth tape, different things to like, again, you'll understand that if you read the book, but like books plural, but like your aerobic capacity, like again, like the nose is respiratory, the mouth is digestive. Like we're built to breathe with our noses. Like we're built to get this deeper breath, this horizontal breath that again activates the lower lung, where like oxygen is most dense from gravity. It's down here. Like mouth breathing is short, shallow. Like you can take a breath through, like you can sit there and take a big breath through your mouth. Your chest rises. Take a big breath in through your nose. Your stomach rises. Like God, whoever you believe in, built you that way to work that way. Like short and shallow. There's a reason why when we throw somebody in the cold tub or when somebody's having a panic attack, like that is a fear state that you should not be in at any point in the day unless you're competing. You should breathe through your nose all day, all night, unless you're competing. And then you can actually become a better competitor by training with your mouth tape. And then now, like you have fourth gear. Like, yeah, you can breathe in throughout your nose as long as you can stay aerobically efficient, then transition nose to mouth. Then like when you have to dog out and fight, yeah, breathe through your mouth. We don't want breathing to stress you out on your competition field. But now we want you to have a tool to upregulate, downregulate. Now like we start playing with ratios. I'm not going to try and give away all Mindstrong's products, but we
right.
We have really cool systems in place. We have great strengthening programs that we've learned from the best in the country. Again, people already named like Laird and Gabby, Brian McKenzie, Dr. Belisa. She has a book called Breathing for Warriors that's phenomenal, which is like kind of a different stance than in some of the other things. She explains the benefits, but she pumps strength as opposed to like does breath holding really increase CO2 tolerance? Does it make me a good breath holder? It's got this whole not conundrum, but it's like really cool stances from everybody. And like in essence, everybody's right in some way, shape, or form. It's just their own stance. But I've done mostly everything. Like my buddy got certified from Dr. Belisa, went through her stuff, Mackenzie. I just make up stuff now and see if it works, see how it applies. I track everything. Like I journal it in the morning and night. Like it just like, it's fun for me. Like that's growth. Like, and then now not only does it apply to my overall health, but my job requires me to know health and fitness, which is what I want to be for the rest of my life, is healthy. So why not build a job around it? So like, that's kind of the logic of me with Mindstrong, but it's just, the breath is super important, and it makes sense once you learn what's happening with the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange and the Bohr effect, like how to build upon it. But like the breath stuff, I'm just going to keep reinforcing this because I haven't done it in like past podcasts and stuff. Like you have to freaking try it. And like you can start with simple meditation apps, whatever you want to do, but just even slow breathing, like it's just powerful. And then like obviously the faster super ventilations and things along those lines and the holds and all that kind of stuff. Like you learn a lot about yourself really quick. Can you handle the fast respiratory? Like, do you actually have the diaphragm strength? Like, how long can you hold your breath? Like some of it's mental, like some of it's CO2 tolerance, some of it's mental. Like you can hold your breath a lot longer than you think you can. And then now you can play with the ratio of oxygen in the blood, how much CO2 you dump, how much oxygen's deep into the tissue. And you can start, like, once I started holding my breath for 3.5, 4 minutes, like my mind was just like, I'm in. Because like, not only is it taking me do these really cool things, but I feel great. Like the breath work in all forms has been some variant of meditation for me. And I've gone down the meditation route too, but just breath's powerful. And I just think, like, honestly, like, even if, like, I'm sure everybody listening to a Coffee and Cutoffs podcast is healthy, but if you're not, like, I think people should start with breath work. Like, breathe out of your nose. Yeah. Like the nose is 30 to 50% more resistant. Like while you're sitting watching your Netflix, breathe through your nose. Get a little more oxygen deeper into the system. See what happens. Oxygen is an antiviral and an antibacterial. Good thing. Like it just on top of the benefits, like you get the diaphragm strength, and it's like a good way to like build a foundation to be like a bad breather shouldn't go do a CrossFit class that they're completely unqualified for. Like you should teach them how to be a breather. You can increase aerobic capacity by developing the CO2 tolerance, a really smart, safe way to start, where you can kind of show up in a little better shape than both being physically out of shape and like aerobically cardiovascular out of shape. Like I think it's logical to me, but it's kind of like breath is a missing pillar in performance. It's overlooked. Coaches tell you to breathe, but they don't tell you how to breathe. And then until you do all the tools, man, I say go all in and feel it. And when you hold your breath for 3 minutes for the first time, or like it just blows your mind, and you find some peace and control there too, because most of the breathwork stuff teaches you how to control your state. And I think everybody needs that today in this overstimulated, chaotic, COVID infested, whatever kind of world you think's going on. But like, if you can't control yourself, like there's no way you're going to control anything else outside. So I just think, like, add tools to the tool belt, dive into breath, holler at the Mindstrong boys. We kind of coach all ranges. We got 5 coaches total. So it's been fun to apply all the stuff across high school sports all the way to professional athletics.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah,
yeah, I've been ranting.
There's so much there. There's so much there, and yeah, we're definitely going to look into that. I want to hit on a couple other things, and then I'll let you get going. I know you got an early morning tomorrow, which I also want to talk about. But you talk about needing structure. James and I have spent a whole podcast talking about routines. Morning routines, evening routines, what those look like, and non-negotiables. What are some of those things that come to mind when you think about, the things that you do first thing in the morning that set you up for your best days, and some of those things that are just absolutely non-negotiable for you that you've got to get done every day?
Yeah, for sure. And those things have constantly changed. Like I journal. Like that's not how I start my day anymore. It's because my day starts different now that I started doing the 4 a.m. workouts and that kind of thing. So like a normal day, which is usually around 4 days a week there. Basically, like I get up and go. Like that's like the cool thing is, like, the routine is the working out. Like, yeah, I get there. I do my warm up. I drink my pre-workout. I because my mornings used to be really slow. I actually started doing Wim Hof like immediately before I got out of bed. I did the lemon water. I did like the slow morning, the journaling and the reading and like the goal setting for the day and that kind of thing. And that served me well too. But like at one point I was locked into that structure. But now my routine is same, but different. So I get to the gym, like the whole goal is just to get up and go. I kind of like, some days I listen to music in the car, some days I don't, but like get there. And like my biggest thing is just test myself. I know I'll work hard when I get there and like do the workout, but like the big thing is like, I want to flirt with failure. And like Monday through Wednesday at the gym, like Monday's deadlift, Tuesday's bench, Wednesday's squat, and we're working to failure almost every day. So like, I know that I need to the little bitch in me can't show up and say, no, don't go for that weight. You got a good weight today. Mm-hmm. So I always try and push myself in that first portion of the lift. And then I like everything else is just like business as usual, like get bumpy, have fun. And then, but on the way back, I listened to a podcast, listened to a bunch of podcasts. Then when I get back, I do again, my post workout, and that's when I do my journaling and my reading and knock out stuff for Mindstrong. And then kind of get my day set up and ready to succeed. But at this point, the biggest thing about my non-negotiable morning is that all this happens before 8 a.m. And it's so damn powerful. It's been life-changing for me where like I get more now done before like 8, 9 a.m. than I did in a whole day. Cause I would wake up at 7:30, like I'd have a coffee. I had like through COVID, I had my guys come train in my garage. They show up, we bullshit over the pre-workout, we go get a run and a lift. And then like, once that's over and I'm showered and I'm 8, like it's 1:30, like the day's gone. I'm tired because I bullshitted in the morning and I just wasn't productive and it wasn't like up to my standard for myself. And so just getting into the 4 a.m. crew and that kind of stuff just changed it took me a while to get in there like consistently, because like some days I train with the boys and the boys were giving me shit because I was going there, but like eventually I knew it was right for me. And it gave me enough space in the morning to feel productive where like life could happen the rest of the day. Like I could go see my family, I could chill if I was tired, but I could still like go get work done, like, or I could read and study, get certified. Like it just, the space and time that my I guess the progressive nature of my morning before 8 a.m. just set me up for success throughout. Anything I did after 8 a.m. was a dub. Like my stretching and all these things just had space now. And so like that non-negotiable space in the morning, that environment is probably the most powerful thing. Then other than that, I think journaling is incredible. Like diet, I'm trying new diets and all those kind of things, but journaling, just like the self-observation, the self-conversation, and just like tracking progress, setting goals, talking about emotions, all these things, and just trying to look at the world as realistically as possible and not falling for the narrative and story in my head or like my own perceived thought of productivity. And those things just eventually was a form of therapy for me and gave me an opportunity. So now, and the most valuable part of it now is to look back a year, 2 years that your journal, and am I having the same thoughts? Did I resolve these issues? Like, have I grown? Like what weight, like, because I record my weights too on what I lift. And like, so it's just this kind of like my own history book. And it just makes sense. Like even like going through a breakup, like what was I thinking going into the breakup? Like, how did I respond? What were my thoughts after? Like, because you never truly remember like everything word for word. Mm-hmm. So just to have your own narrative and your own understanding, your own history, dude, is so dope. I think it's just one of the coolest things in the world, but it takes practice and discipline. Like, and it can be 3 sentences or it can be 3 pages. Like that nobody, like it's for you. And like, I think everybody in the world should have something that's just for them like that, where it's just like, nobody else knows what you're saying, that kind of thing.
Yeah, man, that just like breathing. You just got to start it, right? You got to try. I know that's something I've been talking about doing for a long time, and it's just you got to start. About that 4 a.m. training, on the back of James's tank top there, it says #lunge gang. And, we've spent a lot of time lunging. We do a lot of time preaching single leg work.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Oh,
I got it.
There it is.
Giddy up.
Yeah. And in the month of January, we ourselves alongside probably 30 plus athletes at our gym lunged 15 minutes a day every single day through January. And we thought we were about something, and then we see the stuff you guys are doing there. So what, real quick, tell us about the lunges that are going on.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not full psycho in the lunge world. I've done it and I've supplemented it with my training. I think it's great. I think people throw some rocks at it just because they don't understand it, or same with the breath and all that kind of stuff. They haven't done it and felt it for a longer period of time. And we have these extremists at old school gym where like one guy's almost like Jake Collins almost at 1,000 days straight of 800 plus meters a day. His handles at,
and he's not dead yet.
No, dude, and the cat's like 6'7".
Right. That's
like his lunge just like it takes me 2 lunges. Like I'm 6'3", he's just so long, and it's cool to see him power lift too. But because it's just like it's cool to see somebody that long in that world. But that's his gospel. Like that's his like thing, and like that's his structure. But and Corey's done it for God knows how many days in a row. I'm sure he's tracked it somewhere, shape, or form. But like he did that like as a form of GPP because like the running and the jogging, all that kind of stuff wasn't paying off for him. And then just the intuitive feeling, which he's an incredible human at feeling what works and what doesn't. And like he's guinea pigged himself for 20 years on diets and workouts. And like the dude squatted 700 pounds, but he's also been like 150 pounds on magazine covers. Like he's been and done the blue collar grit work, which I have so much respect for him because I didn't understand him as an outsider looking in. But the dude is meticulous, incredibly curious, and his consistency is unparalleled. Like, so like, that's where like he had the big squat every day thing rolling. So like, that's where he got a bunch of attention initially because like, oh, that's crazy. But then like he kept showing up and kept doing it and kept solving problems on how to get better and do it. And like eventually like power lifters are kept taking notice, Olympians, like people are asking him like, how's it going? And like same with like he's like boys with Arnold somehow, like through Muscle Farm and stuff. And like but like their relationship makes sense to me because they're both like this extreme level obsessive with the body and experimenting. So, but he, anyways, back to the lunging, sorry. I've done it like, so I think my longest streak was like 2 weeks. Like it wasn't crazy for me. But I got to where I was doing it a couple days a week as like a form of GPP conditioning, but like so the one like 8-week period where I did it super consistently, I definitely did feel more powerful, like in my top speed. And like, I felt more stable, like through my hips, squatting and that kind of thing. So like, there's definitely something there. Like it's hard for me to like kind of feel my levels of like kind of hormones, that kind of thing. Like a lot of people say the feel there is like, it definitely like supercharges the system. But it's just a cool little aerobic lactic acid kind of threshold rep. Cause like, if you really break it down, like if you're stepping in between, if you're not stepping in between, it's like work to rest ratio is like 1-4. So what does that accomplish? If you're not, so just like there's a bunch of ways to manipulate it. You can do it on hill, you can do all these things. And it's a really cool form of exercise strength training that I think anybody can do. Cause like a bunch of people complain that, oh, I don't have a gym membership or I don't like running. Like, can you lunge at a slow pace with headphones in? And like it'll smoke your glutes and hamstrings and groin. Like you'll be so crazy at like your quads too. Like it's just a great exercise, incredibly accessible, great substitute for like a general physical preparedness is GPP if nobody knows that's listening. But I think it's a hack. That like majority of the guys do it at the gym in some way, shape, or form. And all these guys are lifting incredible weights for their weight classes. And there's something there. You just have to feel it. I do feel good when I do it. it's just a cool pace for me. It's fun to compete with your times and your distances and those kind of things. And they're onto something. Like, there may not be science behind it, but there's something there with like the work to rest ratio, and then also kind of that, like, just that time under tension. I don't know. It's just like a weird feeling. Time under tension wasn't the word I was going to say right there. But the range of motion, like if you get super comfortable at that deep and strong range of motion with your glute and your hamstring, low back, what, like all like this deal, like then you're going to be crazy, like strong and comfortable, like at that top end range of motion. So I think there's something there too, just because I definitely felt more powerful in my accelerations. I don't know what you guys have felt. I'd love to hear your feedback too, because like Corey's always talking, like he'll talk to anybody and anybody about it because like he knows it works. Have you guys had some success with it?
Yeah, definitely. So when we did it in January, which we're going to do again, I tested I'm not I don't back squat a ton. Like, it's not in my training. I started adding it back in recently, but I'm a big lunge guy. So loaded lunges are my thing. So I tested my like 1 rep backwards, barbell on backwards reverse lunge at the beginning of the month. And then my 1 rep back squat. And then at the end of the month, and during that month, I did lunges, loaded, anterior loaded, on the back, whatever variation we're doing that week. But I didn't back squat at all. So at the end of the month, I ended up putting on 45 pounds to my back squat.
Giddy up. So you're doing weight, like you're not doing the track lunges like Corey.
Yeah, so 15 minutes of distance lunges per day.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I misheard that.
Yeah, and we would cover in 15 minutes. What do you say, around 400 meters? Like, we measured out. So our turf.
I've been tracking it. Yeah, a little more recently.
And yeah, we've gone 60 yards down and back on our turf field. So every lap is 120 yards. And I was consistently getting 4 laps, every time we do it. If I was feeling dangerous, I'd hit 5 laps. We have a soccer player that plays at UK. She would get 8 laps in 15 minutes. And like, if there was an Olympic sport of distance lunges, she would be on her way to the Olympics. It's just incredible. So like, I for sure felt just better, like joint integrity. Like just able to access different muscles that like I can't always like fire right away. And then we followed it up, or at least I followed it up with doing like a month of Nordic hamstrings. And that was probably the fastest I've felt since I was actually like playing sports.
Let's ride. Yeah, dude, like that experiment is perfect. And you, like Corey says the same thing. He's incredibly poetic about it. But it's yeah, like I would say like the connective tissue is definitely there. Like I've had the same success with the Nordic hamstrings as well, on different, like, and then I've done a bunch of different variations of like the isometric hamstring holds, like those kind of things too. Not just like the full centric and concentric of a Nordic hamstring, but the lunging, dude, definitely like there's something to the acceleration there. And then what does Corey always says something? I mean, he always says the squat goes up from it too, but
I've got so many things of him talking about lunges that I've screenshotted on my phone. I mean,
yeah,
it's
but sorry, like the process that I wanted to explain of his that was really cool is his trying to find the right distance. Cause like, so he's been battling injuries for the last 2 years, lot of low back, different hip stuff and a shoulder and those kind of things. But like he tested all these distances of the lunges out till he found one that worked. But it was kind of like a phase. So like he did, I can't remember, it was like in the teens or some day, like of a mile of lunges per day. It was taking him like an hour. And but that was what he had to do to feel great the rest of the day and the next morning. And then it just kind of was a cycle where he had to do it again. But eventually he kind of found like, I have to do this often, this on these days. And he's an eternal experiment guinea pig guy. And I think that's really what you got to do with all the stuff that I'm sure you guys talk about on here. And then anything you hear from everybody else, you don't know till you try it. You can read all the research, and I've read plenty of research on good things that didn't work for me. So like, and everybody's different. Everybody's biomechanics are different. Like everybody's compensation patterns are different. So it's just like life's an experiment. So everybody should keep doing it. But I think the lunges are just incredible. I got so many of my like parents, friends on the lunges now, and like just like well, like because I'm always the one there preaching health to everybody, or like trying to explain the breath to a bunch of 60-year-olds, and they don't get it. But then like I get them to breathe through their nose, or like tape, like a couple of my mom's friends tape their mouths now, and but now they're lunging on their walks in the afternoon, and they're like, I feel so strong. Like it's just cool to see. So it's just like stuff like that has just been the experimenting side of life. I think everybody should find that curiosity, and then just with the world we live in right now, why not be as healthy as possible? Like there's no benefits to being unhealthy. You become more susceptible to the virus on top of 1,000 other compounding issues of like the obesities and things like that. It's just not the only thing that makes logical sense to me is to keep pursuing that. It's very hard, like once you're at X state, but like there's so many small steps to take, which start with breath, simple, like short-term deferment decisions on diet, all that kind of stuff. But I try and preach the good word of health and fitness wherever I go. I know it's kind of off the topic of the lunges, but like the lunges are for everybody. Like you don't even have to lunge knee to the ground, just like lunge, pause, next one, like listen to something cool, do it with somebody else. Like it's just like there's a lot of simple things that I just think everybody should do. And that like if you don't work out and you don't like start with a walk, then walk, lunge for a couple minutes and walk, like just like solve your problems. Because like there's like I don't know, I heard this quote and it always sticks with me, and I'm not trying to target parents or anything, but like it's super dark. That was a super dark intro to the quote, but most parents say they would die for their kids, but less than 26% of U.S. parents live a healthy lifestyle. That blows my mind. Like if I don't know, I don't have any kids, so maybe I'm completely wrong, but like I want to be there as long as I can for my kid. I want to be there as active as I can. Like I want to stay as healthy as I can so I can throw the baseball or go to his music recital, whatever he does. Like I want to be able to move and be active in my child's life. And the only way I knew that is to be healthy. And it just, the logic of unhealthy choices is physiological in my mind, because I think a lot of it, people don't understand what's truly happening in their own body. Like we are physically wired to enjoy the couch and Netflix. Like everything, your millions of years of evolution says, hey, enjoy that shit, because dude, like there's not very many times in the history of like the humans on the planet where you had food, water, shelter, everything taken care of. So like on those occasions, your physiology says rest, enjoy it, save up energy for the next hunt, the next shelter build, the next fight. So like everything in your body, all the dopamine and serotonin and everything pumping in your body from a full stomach, all those, like everything says enjoy that. And so we're really good at being comfortable. Like physiologically, we're really good at being comfortable. So you have to understand what your body's doing. It's saying, yeah, enjoy this, but nobody can hunt anymore. Like nobody hunts. Like, so it takes intentional growth to get off and fight your psychology, your physiology, everything that tells you to enjoy that. So if you kind of switch that signal in your brain that says like, yeah, this feels good, I should probably go do something. Yeah, you should probably go. And in psychology terms, you should make that decision in the next 5 seconds. Because if you sit there for longer than 5 seconds, most likely you're gonna keep your ass on the couch. So like shit like that gets me all juiced up, and learning little tidbits from different books. And like some things may be true, but some things not. But like, I think that sounds tight. Like if I feel like I should do something, go now. Like simple things like that. And that's stuff that helps me get out of like little slumps. Like when Netflix asks me if I want to keep watching, nah, I probably shouldn't. Let's go. Like I'll go on a walk. Like I'll turn on the sauna. Like I just, whenever I get that kind of like that trigger, like, nope, you're being lazy. Like you're giving into your evolution. Like go. So like that's kind of just one of my triggers, and I don't know why I needed to share that, but that's why I did.
No, that's awesome. And I'm gonna have to bring back something you said a little bit ago. Just to clarify for athletes listening, you are not allowed to take steps in between, and that knee better touch the ground, or we're not counting it for our athletes. But if you're an adult just getting into lunges, however you want to start moving, please just get up and move. But I'm watching you, athletes, and that knee better touch the ground.
But if you're a dog, that knee touches.
Yep.
Or it don't count.
That's it.
Because we got to have standards. If we don't have standards, how do we know if we're going to fail at that lunge or not?
No doubt. No, I'm a believer in
right there. Rules of lunges are the rules for life. Real quick Instagram questions, man. Then we'll let you go.
No, you're good. Sorry. I told you I'm master noting on crypto on the side.
All right. Yeah. I don't want you counting down that bedtime. I feel bad getting you to bed late. So a couple questions, then we'll wrap.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Then we'll wrap up with you here. 3 favorite exercises.
In general?
In general, I'm assuming, yeah.
Oh.
That's a tough question.
No, it's a great question. Like, as like a functional athlete, I'm gonna hit all 3 phases then. So I'm gonna say, as an athlete, you should trigger point your psoas to start. Like that, not even exercise, just a prep. I'm not a big fan of the so right. I like trigger point balls, like make a square around your diaphragm and take 5 inhales and exhales, both pushing down around the ball. If I had one exercise to do before I worked out, I'd trigger point my psoas every day of the week. Same thing for like my run, if that opens me up the most. But like forward moving life, like being pronated, like at the computer, sitting in your car, sitting in chairs like we are now, like that gets tied down. It constantly needs to be opened up to, again, maintain this correct firing pattern. So I think it's important. I'm a massive fan of Bulgarian split squats in all variants. Stupid heavy weight, incredibly high reps, time under tension, variance of reps, full rep holds, body weight, you can, again, Mindstrong membership will do like a little strength stuff too, but like all you need is a chair. Put your back foot up on there and hold an isometric lunge for 30 seconds, do a few reps, hold the same leg for 30 seconds, and you can destroy your legs while you're watching TV, while you're watching Pretty Little Liars or whatever it is you guys watch, October or Outer Banks. I don't know what the kids watch these days, but all that kind of stuff, like very simple things can have savage effects. And like the unilateral stuff, I love that you guys preach that, because I think that's missed at young ages, because that was massive for me. One of our biggest exercises on top of all the hypertrophy stuff I did with Dr. Serrano was the Bulgarian split squat was an absolute staple, and me getting stronger, faster, and more athletic. It's non-negotiable for me. The squat has kind of replaced that as of late, but I always do auxiliary stuff in Bulgarians in some way, shape, or form. And then kind of playing off your Nordics, the isometric hamstring hang, just body weight hanging from a pull-up bar, shoot your hips through and bring your heels to your butt, point your toes. So like pronate your toes. So calves are on, feet are on, calves are on, hamstrings are on because you're pulling your heels to your butt. And hips are through, so your glutes are on. Hold that for 30 seconds. Heels up the whole time. You can add med balls to your feet, those kind of stuff. But that connective strength of all those muscles filing together is kind of like there's always kind of like my true north, where like if whatever kind of cramps up first, like it can be dehydration based and weakness based and some other things like that. But like that's my reset. Like when I can sustain 30 seconds, no cramping. But like if you cramp, hold it, like go, like fight through it, and then start to like see what cramps first. Some people it's their feet, hamstring, some people are low back, but it's just a great indicator of weaknesses for me. And then I mitigate that different ways, but that's a great isometric hamstring curl hold.
So are your arms extended, or are you holding the top pull up?
No, arms extended, dead hang, like, but from my hands to my knees is a dead straight line because my hips are through.
Yeah. And then you're basically bringing heel to butt with dorsiflexion?
No, pronation. or plantar flexion. Sorry, I fucked
okay.
that up. Yeah, plantar flexion. I said the wrong P word, but so plantar flexion, and trust me, like you can do body weight, but again, straight up and straight down, hinge at the knee, toes pointed, like almost like you're pressing gas pedal to the ceiling. You'll feel it. You're gonna cramp up pretty quick if you're not used to the exercise, but you can get better at it really fast. You can add med balls on top. You can add a med ball in between your knees. So you start adding the adductors. Like it's just a great way to start finding that cross-functional strength along with the hamstring isometric, and just tying this lower body together has been fantastic. There's a bunch of ways to do it in the glute bridge categories and all those kind of things as well. But like those are my three favorites. Then always Arm Farm Fridays.
Gotta have it.
Massive levels of hypertrophy and cutoff shirts, preferably prefaced with a coffee in this podcast.
Yeah, maybe a little espresso mixed with some coffee even. I don't know.
Ooh, dangerously stimulated. Yeah, you mentioned Oxygen Advantage and Sleep and Breathe. Any other favorite books?
In what world?
Well, I'm always
Anything.
thinking self-improvement and performance, but yeah, really just anything.
Yeah. All right. So life-changing books for me: Awareness by Anthony DeMello, the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. What's another good? Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance it's like a modern, grittier alchemist. Savage book. And then probably my most recent read was Savage, The Comfort Crisis. I don't know if you guys got on that kick yet. Yeah, it's a solid book as well. And then honestly, a very cool book as well is one of my training partners, Nate Ebner, came out with his book, Finish Strong. Incredible story with how his dad raised him and his mental framework for sport, and basically like being able to accomplish anything you do with like if you bring the right intent and mindset to it. He's just like, the book is so sneaky incredible, and not just because he's my dog. It's just like, it's a really cool book. Like his dad basically raised him in the weight room with grit. His dad ran a junkyard. They grew up like beating the shit out of junkyard thieves and that kind of thing. And then he grew up playing rugby and like playing with his dad and all this kind of stuff. And then he wanted to switch to football. His dad said, yeah. And his dad actually got murdered by some guy from the junkyard. So he went and followed his football dream, because like that's what him and his dad had talked about, and his dad okayed it. So like walks on to Ohio State, like his sophomore year, never played a down of football, earns a scholarship, never plays on defense, only special teams, get drafted by the Patriots in the 6th round, goes on to play for the Patriots for whatever that was, 8 years, wins 3 Super Bowls. With his rugby, hadn't played rugby in 6 years. Sevens rugby gets okayed back into the Olympics in 2016, walks away like from an NFL contract to go play in like to take a shot to make the Olympic team, makes the team against all odds, and then comes back, has an all-pro season with the Patriots again. Savage story, dude. It just and it's just so well told too. But anyways, that's my bias opinion, but it's a great book, especially for young kids. If that's what you're looking for, like with the podcast, like that age range, like listen to how he speaks about intent, how he tracks all of his workouts, how he feels about seeing the progress tangibly, if that's a word. But like understanding like if you put the time in, you get the results. And if you do that in a disciplined manner, like that just breeds confidence to, again, put the work in to get what you want and control the outcome. But if you don't put in the work and you don't track it and you don't see it, like, and all these distractions take over, like if you're getting distracted by little crap in your life, like you don't want it bad enough. You want to start on varsity, like silence it, track your progress, put in the work, and like, again, get that system in place to support what you want. And it's I think like that's the most powerful thing in the book that he just powers home, is that like he built this confidence up with his dad as a kid with all his hard work. His dad like had like Olympics at his house every year to track him for like his whole life, all this stuff. And it's done in such a gritty, compassionate way that like this Nate literally thinks like he can like go be a doctor now. Like he thinks that he can completely do a new career, and like he can sit down at like I play the piano. He sits down at a piano for 3 hours and memorizes somebody's hands on YouTube because he knows if he puts in the work, he can do it. So now he plays Roses from Outkast in front of me. Like he's a great, incredible human, but like, it's really cool to see the structure from that book in real life. So that's why I probably love it more than anybody else, but it's just a great read for a kid. I've already given it to a bunch of my high school coaches' sons.
That's awesome. This, man, this question doesn't fire me up as much as that answer does. I feel bad transitioning to this. Talked about being high fat before in your career. Are you still eating high fat, or are you just kind of in and out of that?
I'm in and out of it for the most part. I don't think I'll ever be low fat. Actually, that's a bold-faced lie. So I was just out in Arizona, and my Cairo friend out there, he's been on this monotrophic diet kick. So I've done a few days just dabbling with it, but he's not like, he tries to mimic like this old lifestyle and that kind of stuff, and it makes sense, but he has really good results on it right now. So I'm flirting with the idea of going low fat, because really in nature, low fat is not, or fat is not readily available. And usually like in nature, like in the olden days, like you're only eating one thing at a time. It's not like you're collecting everything, killing something, and then having like a nice safe time to prepare everything and that kind of thing. So you kind of like, that's like the concept behind. There's a bunch of better benefits than that, but it's basically like, it's easy on the immune system and the stomach and digestive system, that kind of stuff. But anyways, no, high fat, I think, is incredibly important for athletes, incredibly important for football players. I don't think you should be crazy lean. I think like 8 to 14, 15, depending on your position, that kind of stuff. But high fat, probably in the easiest way said for me, like it's great for your joints and your brain. And if the easiest way my doctors explained it to me is like fat functions like water in the body. And I know this is not going to be as applicable for some of the kids listening, but when adults, 21-year-old humans, drink alcohol, you take yourself into a dehydrated state. Body shrinks down, you think you're in a desert. And then in the morning, when you're hungover and feel bad about your decisions, you wake up and you drink a bunch of water and Gatorade to try and eliminate those decisions. And you bloat up and hold on to the water, because your body is an organism reacting to the environment, doesn't know when it's going to get water again, because you originally took it to a desert last night. You drink enough water, eventually the body feels safe, and you piss all that out and you dump it and you go back to your normal size. Fat cells work in a very similar way. When you give yourself enough good, healthy fats, like the reason why your joints and your brain feel better are because those fat cells actually decrease in size because there's more readily available. That's the inflammation going away in your joints. And then football players, contact sports, your brain is 70-80% fat. Affect it, control inflammation when you can. Like high, and then like I've gone medicinal keto before. Like that's not like, I don't recommend that for anybody in season. I think it's really cool to play with. Like my tone and my energy levels were fun to feel out. Getting into ketosis is very hard if you don't monitor it the right ways. But it's a really cool feeling. My skin cleared up. I got super lean, but I'm definitely high fat. I don't think I'll ever go like medicinal keto again, but I'll play with it. And I love fasting. And I love trying new diets. Like I'm going to keep trying new stuff. Like I'm not in a mindset right now to go balls to the wall on the monotrophic diet, but I will at some point and go from there. But yeah, high fat makes sense to me for athletes. Your tendons and like I skipped the tendons and ligaments. They're made of fat. Brain's made of fat. Makes sense. And then fat burns cleaner than anything else as well. Like you get 120% compared to like a carbohydrate. Like again, that's if you're using it properly. But anyways, and it also has the least amount of effect of your calorie intake on your stomach of the energy. I think carbohydrates take 30% of digestive calories. No, protein's 30%, carbs are 8 to 10, and then fat is like 3%. Like your body processes it really fast and efficiently. So anyways.
Favorite moment, if you have one, this is probably tough to narrow down. Favorite moment playing in the NFL.
In the NFL.
Yeah, last one from Instagram here.
No, I had a couple really cool moments, but probably my my favorite moment, like as like the experience as a whole. One of my first games was I'm from Columbus, Ohio. We played the Bengals on Thursday night football, I believe. It was Thursday or Monday. But I might have had 60, 70 people come down to the game. And I had my best game of the season. I had 2 like massive hits to start the game on kickoff. Played well outside of that kind of deal. We won. But coming out there and seeing everybody for the 30 minutes was like, it was so damn cool. But I've done cool stuff on the field too. Like I've tackled the Tyreek Hill's, like his crazy first year when like he didn't even play week 1. He came out week 2 we were the first team he faced as a punt returner. Nobody had seen him before. And he's just this juicy savage of an animal. Dude, we might've had like 25 missed tackles as a special teams unit. But like stuff like that, like it's fun to watch and know you competed at these levels. But like honestly, like the things, like my experiences are like the relationships, like the training with all these guys, watching guys how they perform, and then like the relationships, that kind of thing. But yeah, definitely that Cincinnati game was super special for me.
Man, that would be awesome. Last question, Brian. We wrap up every podcast with this. And you've probably answered this 5 or 6 times, man. So don't feel like you gotta, take the rest of the evening. But where do you think, or what do you think the strength and conditioning industry is missing as a whole?
Teed this one up for you.
Yeah, we teed it up.
Is
really
it this?
Good. Well, so we'll keep it strength and conditioning. Like I won't say breath, but I'll say strengthen your diaphragm. Like make sure your pelvic floor is turned on, which some strength coaches do, but like strengthen your diaphragm, strength and conditioning, strengthen your diaphragm. And go do your research and see what it truly does. Like I hope the strength conditioning coaches listen. Yeah. Read Breathing for Warriors. It's a good little intro to that stuff.
If you guys take anything from this, it's go take a cold shower. Right after you hear this, tape your mouth, get some sleep. Brian Peters, thanks so much, man, for being on Cutoffs and Coffee. We love having this conversation with you. For everybody out there listening, remember to always continue to practice gratitude. Tell the people that you love them, and always live life stimulated.